We are live. Good morning, everybody. This is Claire Jones from Your One Life Healthy Weight Solutions, and I'm here with you for Monday Morning Matters episode 53, which is all about how we manage our food choices in the world that we're living in, where we're in this kind of like cost of living crisis. So I'm really excited to be joined this morning by Debbie Hancock, money mindset coach. We're just going to have a little bit of a chat about all of these issues that we're facing and how we might be able to kind of, manage a little bit better in terms of both managing our weight and managing our money in this really, really difficult climate that we find ourselves in. What we're going to cover, we're just going to have a bit of a chat about, the fact that, we are, really struggling with, the cost of living and how that might be challenging us, and I'm going to ask Debbie if she's got any kind of particular suggestions around that. We're also going to have a little bit of a chat about the things that influence our spending on food and spending in general, and obviously where there may be some parallels with the choices that we make about what to eat as well, and also perhaps being aware of some of the false economies that we might be making in the short term, but then maybe actually causing a bit more of a problem in the longer term. So welcome, Debbie. Would you like to just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Claire. Yes, I'm Debbie. I'm a mindset coach or money mindset coach, and a qualified accountant, but I'm kind of not doing the accountancy piece anymore. Mm-hmm. And I work with business owners to help them understand their habits behind their spending, saving, anything related to money, because ultimately I was giving loads of strategies, which is great, but I was finding that people were still not quite connecting or doing what I thought they should be. And it was coming down to really their mindset, their habits, their stories and their beliefs. And the way to move forward was really going back to start and understanding what they are. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, isn't it, when you start kind of looking into it and thinking, it's not as simple as that, oh, just spend less money. If only. It's like the same, it's not as simple as just eat less. If only it was that simple. It is all of those things that run underneath it that influence our behavior. So obviously I'm guessing that you're hearing from people quite a lot about the challenges that they're facing at the moment around the cost of living crisis and that sort of thing. What are the biggest things that the people are perhaps struggling with at the moment, do you think?
So I work with a lot of business owners, gym-based business type things, and to be honest, it's things like gas and electricity. It's just so expensive that even if they put their membership prices up, it's still putting massive pressure on them. And that therefore is obviously putting pressure on the money that they can personally extract from the business, and therefore their personal finances, because they're having to survive on a lot less money. Getting into complicated business stuff, but if you take a salary and then you take dividends, but if there's no profit, you can't take any dividends from the business. So that is therefore impacting them personally. So yeah, it's just the price of everything going up, and then their mindset around increasing their prices, because I guess like in your region as well, and food and stuff, people feel that there's a limit to spend on, say, going to a gym, and if they put the price up by £5 a month, some people just say that's just not possible. And if you listen to like Martin Lewis or any of the budgeting people, the thing that they always say is cut your gym membership, cut your Netflix subscription.
Of course. And of course, people may rely on that gym membership to help them stay focused on feeling fit and healthy. And if suddenly they've got to say, well, I can't afford to go to the gym anymore, what is that then saying to them about their value of, to themselves of their health and well-being? Because it's all very well saying, yeah, I'll do it at home, but who does? I mean, I know some people do, but I know I've got a whole gym, gym's worth of equipment at home. Did I use it in lockdown? Yeah, every now and then, but certainly not in any kind of regular routine. Yeah, I go to the gym, religiously, like 2 to 3 times a week, every single week now, because it's there. And I don't want to give that up. But it's like, well, when you are being squeezed in all directions, you really do have to make some harsh decisions, don't you? Yeah, it's really, really tricky. So just thinking about this kind of like whole mindset that we have around you know, food and spending and all of that sort of thing, and all the different things that influence it. What are the challenges, do you think, in terms of, like, you know, perhaps the long term versus the short term views?
So yeah, when I was younger, we didn't have a lot of money, and we used to eat the non-brand cheaper stuff, which is fine. And when I went to uni, I'd done the same, cheap, 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 cheap as I could get. And when I started training, like running, I just found that I just wasn't, I get really tired, etc. I didn't understand nutrition or the impact of food. So I would eat cheap food, and I would try and cut costs everywhere with food. And it's only now that I realize actually the longer term impacts of not eating the right food and fueling my body properly, because I lost a lot of weight, which people might think is great, but actually it wasn't great, because I couldn't control. I just lost a lot of weight, and it wasn't good for my body. I wasn't fueling myself. I was tired. And my mum, she went through like the menopause, and the doctor said to her the reason she was having all this strange bleeding was because of like lack of minerals and vitamins and stuff that she now spends on seeds and nuts. And so there's the short term view, like I'll eat those sausages with 50% meat because they're cheaper, versus the longer term view of purchasing sort of fresher, healthier foods, and kind of getting more of a rounded diet, which not only comes down to money, but also comes down to education, doesn't it, on cooking and stuff. But
absolutely.
yeah.
Do you find, though, that people spend more than they intend to on food? Like, for example, you know, we might have that shopping list. You know, right, I'm just going to get what's on the shopping list, and then you hit the supermarket or even online, and there's all these offers are being thrown at you, and you go, oh yeah, you know, if I buy 3 of those, I'll save money. But do we really? Do we really?
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
think?
that's definitely me. Like if you go to the shop at the wrong time and you're feeling a bit hungry, you just be like, ooh, that's a good deal. Purchase, purchase, purchase. So actually I have I create a shopping list, like a food plan and a shopping list, and I do it online because one, it saves me loads of time, but two, I just find that I don't get as distracted because I'm like I go to my favorites and I order my stuff and then I add it on. Whereas as soon as you enter the shop, you're bombarded by marketing. Like as soon as we walked into Sainsbury's yesterday, it was like, do you want to try this sample of some kind of alcohol or something? Or do you want to try this chocolate? Or do you want, and you're like, and there's chocolate aisles, there's Christmas aisles, and you're like, it's quite hard, even for me, to remain like focused on what you're trying to achieve. And you go up to, like, I don't know if they do it so much because I don't pay attention to them anymore, but you know when it's like buy 3 packs of biscuits, it's £2, and when you look and you think, actually, if I bought 1 pack of biscuits, it'd be like the same per pack of biscuits. And it has been on the TV and stuff that this is what the market, the companies are doing. And actually, I did write down, slightly off topic, about like they've got these nectar prices now and these club card prices, and all they've done is shoved the prices up and then lowered them by having your nectar card. So I have them all on my phone now, so that it's never an issue, because I'm like, I'm not paying that inflated price for whatever it is. Like I think yesterday was like pork and beef and stuff, but
we are up against it, aren't we, with the food manufacturers and the retailers and the marketing, particularly, that is designed to, you know, attract us and you know, us making those decisions. We you know, logic goes out the window, doesn't it? It's like, oh well, I've got that because, you know, it's going to be really, really nice, and I'm going to save money and all that sort of thing. But actually we end up not saving anything. And I think you know, things that, particularly if it's fresh food, that it's going to go out of date before you get a chance to eat it. I mean, one of the things that my dad always used to say to me when I was little was that it was only a bargain if you were going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a waste of money. And I personally don't throw any food away. So you know, you watch those programs and people throw loads of food away, and I'm like, really? Is this really what happens? Because to me, like, we were on a tight budget, like we did not throw food away. It was like banned. And it was like, if there's food in the fridge, we were like, right, dinner tonight is going to be a mix of stuff because we don't throw it away. But it does happen. Like, you can go, oh, buy these 2 loaves of bread because it's 2 for £2, or it's 1.80 a loaf. But actually, it's still 20p you're going to throw away if it goes off and goes mouldy. Or like pack of peppers, you know, all in the plastic, which
yeah,
I'm dead against anyway,
yeah,
but pack of
yeah,
peppers, and if you
yeah,
don't eat them, they go all soft and horrible, then
yeah,
it's
that's
still a
it.
waste of money.
Well, that's it. So how can we avoid kind of like falling into these traps? What can we do to kind of make sure that we're buying the right amount of food and not overbuying because we're taking advantage of offers that perhaps are not really offers? How can we make sure that we're managing our budgets as effectively as possible?
So with mindset, the first thing is always awareness. And so it's just being aware that these companies are pumping millions and millions of pounds into marketing
Mm, mm,
to influence us. And it's not our fault. You shouldn't feel like upset or that you've been
mm,
influenced by it, because that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to influence us.
absolutely. And
So
they
first,
do very well.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
be aware
Mm,
of
mm,
like so when say the box of chocolates, like I think they're all out in the shops now, aren't they, for Christmas?
mm.
They will start dropping that price, and you'll be like, oh, buy it for Christmas because it's a bargain.
And you
And
eat
then
it before
a week
Christmas.
later, you've eaten it. Like I 100%, that is what I do. Um,
Yeah.
I've even tried putting them in the loft,
Mm,
so and
mm,
I still eat them.
mm,
Um, so that you're still actually going to spend more money
mm.
because they're just influencing you to buy early.
Yeah.
So the things that I do is I create a food plan,
Mm-hmm.
which then creates a shopping list. I check the cupboards and stuff to see what's
Mm,
there.
mm,
Um, I take a look at, say, the Shopham app and
mm,
just see, and the Nectarcard app, and just see if there's any things on there that I want to buy
mm, and
and that I can get a discount on.
mm,
Uh, and then I try my hardest just to stick to the shopping list.
mm,
And I don't go down certain aisles. So I don't go down the chocolate and crisp aisle
mm,
because I know I will just buy stuff. Um, I don't go down the special
mm,
Christmas aisle. Like
mm,
I try to be quite disciplined. I'm like, I want to be in and out in an hour.
mm,
Um, so yeah, that's how it works best for me, is being aware that they're marketing to you and like having a plan and thinking about the benefits of that plan. Like
mm,
I'll say my son goes swimming on a Tuesday, so we're going to have jacket potato today,
mm,
and like planning it around your life,
mm,
um,
mm. One of
and
the things,
being aware. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I think, and that comes, it's the same with, whatever we're trying to do, isn't it? Is we need to be prepared. We need to know what our pitfalls are likely to be and try to avoid them or at least minimize them. And one of the things that I found for me was quite a challenge is, it's all very well having a plan, but that it still requires energy to focus on it, doesn't it? And sometimes you get caught short. Sometimes, you're in such a hurry. There's so many pressures, and it's just one more thing to think about. So for me, one of the things that I have found really, really helpful over the years is to take advantage of the convenience options. And when I say convenience, I don't necessarily mean, highly processed, ultra processed, junk type foods. I'm talking about things like pre-packaged, pre-chopped vegetables and things like that, because one of the things I hate doing is chopping vegetables. So I would much rather buy the pre-packed ones rather than the whole ones that require you to do the work. And obviously you pay extra for the things to be chopped for you, but the way that I see it is that if that means that come Friday night or Thursday night or Saturday night or whatever it is, when I'm like so tired from the week and I just can't be asked to cook, or I can't be asked to chop the vegetables, cook something from scratch, if I know that is there and I can just quickly rustle something up in 10 minutes, that saves me from spending 3 times as much on a takeaway or going out to eat. I would much rather do that. For me, that is a kind of like a really good compromise in terms of managing my need to eat healthily and not overspend in an unplanned way. Because that's the thing, is a lot of time we end up calling in the takeaway or going out for a meal because it's the quick knee-jerk reaction to whatever happens to be going on, as opposed to something that we have planned, that we've said, right, every Saturday night or every other Saturday night or once a month or however often it's affordable to do. to allow that time. It's the unplanned stuff that I think is the problem. And it's the same with, managing our weight, whether it's spending anything on, any money on anything. It's the unplanned stuff we've got to watch out for, isn't it, so that it doesn't end up causing us problem. And I was looking at some statistics actually before our chat about how much households actually spend on groceries, and it's really interesting that we spend a quarter of our budgets on average on eating out and takeaways, which is, in my view, probably, if we're looking at it from a health and well-being and a if we're trying to manage our budgets, that there probably are some savings that could be made in that area. So I've got a question for you, Debbie. What would you say to someone who said that they look forward to that takeaway or that meal out? The kids look forward to it. It's a real treat. What would you perhaps, with your sort of money mindset coach hat on, what would you say to someone who had that view that it was their treat, and that that's the one thing that they really look forward to every week? What would you say to that?
Yeah, so we'd look at like the emotions around it.
Mm-hmm.
So what emotions do you feel before you've been for the meal? What do you feel whilst you're having the meal? And what do you feel after? So like an hour or so after, how do you feel now? And if you look at how much it is to eat out, so we ate out the other day, there's only 3 of us. It was a curry, it cost like £100. I don't drink alcohol, so it didn't include any alcohol or anything. And you think, what else could you spend that £100 on? And actually, did that money give me the satisfaction that something else that £100 would cost me? And it's like, the reason we did was because we was away, so we had no choice really. But if I was at home, I'd be like, actually, for £100, I could buy that Gusto box that would help me pre-plan my food and eat a healthy meal every day. Or I could buy 2 gym memberships. So it's equating it to something else, and how would that make you feel? And if the kids are looking forward to it, like, it's just something they got used to, so it's habits. We run our lives on habits, and it's questioning the benefits of those habits, because they're serving us a benefit, otherwise we wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
But what are the consequences of that habit? And actually, if you were to change it slightly, what benefits would you get from that? And looking at it from like different points of view.
Yeah, absolutely. I've for those of you who are watching, who are getting my 30 days of weight management tips, this is something that I've been talking about. I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, tip number 3, I think, about actually, let's see if we can make food a less important part of our lives, because everything we do revolves around food now, doesn't it? And it's like, it's a birthday, let's go out for a meal, let's have a party. It's it's Christmas, let's have a meal. It's someone's leaving, let's go out for a meal. How about if we started to look at doing something else and remembering the experience and the people that we're with rather than the food? Because actually, will you remember in a week's time what you ate at that meal, or will you remember who you were with and what you did? And I think it's about changing our perception about what is a treat, isn't it? And actually, is it the food? Because actually, 5 minutes after we've finished eating, especially if we've overdone it, how do you actually feel? I cannot bear feeling overstuffed. It actually makes me feel physically ill now, and I don't want that. So I avoid allowing it to happen in the first place. And that, to me, by changing my focus from the food to the experience, has been such a game changer. And I think that's something that, the world that we live in, if we want to be a healthy weight, we've got to change some things. If we want to be able to manage our money effectively in this financial climate, we've got to change some things, haven't we? We've got to make some compromises.
Yeah.
So
I was just gonna say, like, the one thing I do, and some like to tell clients to do, is budgets. We have pots, like a fun pot and a bills pot and a food pot, and and therefore, if you put the money aside into those pots, you can monitor it, because so many people don't have a clue what they spend on food. I do, to an extent, not by the penny like I used to, because I used to be way too controlling. But my mum does it. But I asked my brother, and he's like, I don't know, what's the point in even checking? He's struggling with paying for other things. So actually, having those pots, and then if you've got the fun pot, you can be like, right, if there's £200 in the fun pot, what do we want to do with that? Oh, we can go out for the day and we can go to the zoo and we can do this and that, or we can go out for a meal.
Mm.
And then it's like, it makes you question that spend.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So Debbie, can you give us three of your top tips in terms of managing our spending, whether it's on food or anything really, just, you know, in terms of people being able to manage their budgets a little bit better to help us through this really difficult time? What would your three top tips be?
So the first one would be create a budget.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds really boring. You don't have to be like really strict and controlled of it, but just an idea of where your money is going every month. Otherwise, you'll find it just disappears and you go, oh, what happened? I've got nothing left.
Yeah.
So I create
bit like how we eat as well. It's like we don't know how much we're eating. It's so easy to.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I forgot about those tips I had. So yeah, I create budgets and I have like a fun budget as well. So I can sort of look at what I'm spending. I put my money into pots, so you can use banking apps to do that. It's like the old envelope method, isn't it? Like, God knows how many years ago they used to put money in envelopes. It's that, and then you can see the budget going down, and you can think, oh, actually, do I want to do that or not?
Forces you to be clear about your priorities, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes you question where you're spending your money, and you might think, actually, I don't value having Netflix, Disney, Amazon, Sky. You know, there's so many, isn't there? ITVX. When actually I could spend that money on buying some better food or a gym membership or something like that.
Yeah.
I've lost track of what I was thinking.
So we've got this. So we need your third tip now.
So it's about planning for me, like, so it's all around the planning side and I guess the awareness side. So being aware and questioning what you're spending on. So when I go through business spend, it is running through the costs and saying what benefits are these providing me. And sometimes it's like, just because it costs you money doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it. But if it's going to save you time or it's going to help you make more money or it's going to make you healthier in the long run, then it's worth spending on. I had this the other day with the gym. It was like, oh, should we spend £50 a month on the gym? Actually, we're going to give it a go for a year because it's for our long-term health. We're at an age where muscle starts to deteriorate. And so and I use apps. So I use like Shop'em. There's other ones like Top Cashback, checking like the Nectar app and the Tesco's Club Card app and things like that, because there are deals. And I guess it's not being influenced. So the other day there was something on there, like I can't remember what it was, and I was like, nope. Even if I spend £2 on it, I don't need it. It's still a waste of money. But actually, cat treats for free, definitely need. So it falls into the planning stage again, but just checking out there are discounts and deals to be had.
Being aware and not being distracted and you know, sticking to your guns, but also have that little space for fun, isn't it? I mean, I often talk about the 80-20 principles when it comes to what we eat. You know, if 80% of your diet is as nutritious as you can make it within the constraints of your life, you've got 20% to have whatever you like, you know, as long as it doesn't exceed that 20%, you've got nothing to worry about. And then you don't have to feel like you're missing out. But it's about, you know, not overindulging, because, you know, we are in this society, aren't we, where we can have everything whenever we want it, as much as we want. And that, unfortunately, for us is our undoing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm lucky. I don't, like where I live, we don't get Uber or any of that stuff, so we don't have the option.
Yeah, it probably is lucky actually that you don't, because you can save yourself from yourself then, can't you?
Definitely. And I definitely used to be way too controlling with money. Like I just wouldn't spend on coffees or anything like that, which people might think is good, but actually if you're too restrictive, you just miss out on opportunities to like enjoy stuff. So I've had the free mindset work kind of expand that, and I have my, you know, the money I can just spend on stuff. And I guess the same with food,
guilt free, isn't it? You can do it guilt free then, if you've already decided that this is how much you are prepared to spend, whether that be in terms of a calorie budget or a monetary budget, on that thing, then there's no guilt involved.
Yeah.
There's no guilt needed. You can just
Enjoy
enjoy
it.
it. Yeah.
If you've made that decision to spend that money, then enjoy spending it. Like, don't, because you know that you've dealt with that, you've dealt with the serious side, and this is your stuff just to enjoy.
Absolutely, because there's no negative consequences of it, because it's not going to impact on your goals, and that's the way to see it, I think. And that's the work that I do, is really trying to help people to develop that mindset, so we get away from that all or nothing kind of mentality, where we're either being perfect or it's a complete disaster, and we may as well just have everything in sight, which I know from experience used to be me a long time ago. So thank you so much, Debbie, for joining us today. This was really, really interesting. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to know more about what you do, and perhaps have a chat with you?
So I'm on Facebook, it's just under my name, Debbie Hancock, or I'm on TikTok, which is at Debbie_money story coach. So I do a lot of videos on TikTok. So yeah, it depends if you prefer text-based or video-based.
Super, lovely. Well, thank you so much. We'll pop the links underneath the video on in the group, and this will go onto my YouTube channel as well, so I'll pop the links in there too. And yeah, we'll see you in the group. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
And you. Bye bye.